Begin by saying there is no other light like you. And I mean you very individually. There's not another one like you in this auditorium or Pine Bluff or in all of the world. I would say there's never ever been one like you. And you were called to shine. You were called to be your brightest. It's an honor to get to shine. It's kind of fun to shine, actually. When you shine, you actually feel better than the people you shine upon. I'm not sure that was proper grammar, but that'd be close enough. One other thing I can say with confidence, we were not called to blend into the background. Don't do that. Don't fall into that temptation. You were called to shine. Here's all the authority you need to shine. Jesus said, and that's your number one authority, let your light shine before men in such a way they may see your good works, glorify your Father who is in heaven. So that's what you're going to do, and God knows who you are. He knows you by name. Matthew 10 would tell us He knows how many hairs upon your head. So He knows exactly what you can do, how you can shine, when and where you can shine, and that's what you want to do. You just want to shine. And so when He looks at you as an individual, shine. Shine as bright as you can wherever you happen to be. Now, individually and or the congregation, right? We overlap a little bit. So Paul would write in Romans 12, for just as we have many members in one body, and all the members do not have the same function. So we're many in the body of Christ, individually members of one another. We have gifts that differ according to grace given to us, each of us to exercise them accordingly. If prophecy, according to the portion of His faith, so on and so forth. You can go back, read that text a little further. I want to emphasize we're members of one body, but we don't all have the same function. We have some different talents. So you play a unique role, and you play a unique role in a place nobody else can do for you. No one can substitute for you. Now, somebody may be coming and do a halfway job for you, but they can't take the place of you. There just is no other you. And if you don't shine, then nobody can come shine for you. I want to encourage you to shine. And so let's start with authority. I want you to take the initiative. Jesus authorized you to shine. You don't have to come ask me if you can shine, or ask the elders if you can shine, or ask anybody else if you can shine. Because if Jesus is your Lord, and I hope that's the case, He's already told you, you can shine. You just have to take the initiative. All you've got to do is look around and go, okay, in this situation, whatever you're in at the particular time, how can I shine? How can I be one of those lights in the world? And I mean, wherever you happen to be, I don't care what your level in society is. Titus 2:10, he says to the bond servants, bond slaves, which is getting pretty low on the ladder there, to be subject to their own masters in everything, to be well pleasing, not argumentative, not pilfering, but showing all good faith, so that they will adorn the doctrine of God our Savior in every aspect. A slave in ancient times could shine in that particular time and place, that environment. And if you look close, He told us how that can happen. He said, be well pleasing. Okay, there's your one key. Don't be argumentative. You know somebody, every time you say something, they want to argue with you, and they want to fuss and pick everything apart. Don't do that. Not pilfering. You know anybody at work that pilfers? Maybe they're just pilfering time. Take a little too long on the break and what have you. Don't do that. On the job, you show all good faith, and in that you adorn the doctrine of God our Savior. I don't care where you are on the level of whatever, you figure all that out. You can shine. Shine wherever you are. Just turn your light on and say, this is how I'm going to shine. I'm going to do that. We used to sing the little song. I always mess it up, so I won't sing it for you. If I was better at it, we'd do it. You know, this little Christian light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Don't put it under a bushel now. Won't let Satan. You know the song, right? I need to practice it, and then we'll sing it sometime. What I want you to do is recognize your personal opportunity, just individually, where you're at in your little groove of life, to shine. That's what we do. That's the value of the individual Christian. I want to tell you it's primarily individual. I think there is a big tendency for us to get lost in the man-made religious machine. And I'm not just talking about big, crazy international denominational groups. It can happen here. We can look at Highway 79 South as the machine, and we can get lost in the machine. Now, I think that's kind of silly to say because I know we're a pretty small group, but I don't want anybody to get lost in any kind of machine because the individual and in your individuality is where you really shine. I think we see some of that in Philippians 2:12 with the work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. You got your individual devotion, your individual surrender, your individual obedience. There's just so many ways individuality is, I can't really say the pinnacle or the central thing of it. They're both there, but it really, 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 now without the individual, it just doesn't work. And so we get credit for our individual work. That's really the main focus of it. So we all must appear before the judgment seat of Christ so that each one may be recompensed for his deeds in the body, according to what he has done, whether good or bad. So when it comes to judgment time, God's not going to call us all up as one big single group and say, okay, I need all Highway 79 South to come up here now. It's going to get complicated. Well, wait a minute. I was over at 28th Street for a long time. Do I go up with the 28th group or do I go up with the 79 South group? No, he's not going to do that anyway. When it comes time for judgment, he's going to call you by name, individually, and you on your own. That's kind of scary. Well, with Jesus, how about it we say it that way? We'll give an account of what you chose to do with the life he gave you. That's pretty heavy stuff. Or as I like to say, that's a sermon for another time. So that was created to shine. We are created to shine our own unique light, whatever that means for you and where you're at in life. Don't you be comparing your light to somebody else. That's somebody else. And one of the mistakes we do there is what we do is we look at our life, and since we're on the inside of our own life, we know our own life, right? And then we see the outside shiny parts of somebody else's life, the highlight reels as we see on Facebook and what have you. And we compare our normal, real, not so pretty life with a highlight reel somebody put up for 2 seconds or 15 seconds on theirs and go, oh, my life's no good. Don't do that. Their life's no good either. They only had 10 seconds worth putting on Facebook. If their life was really good, they would have a nonstop 24-hour day channel highlighting how wonderful their life was the whole time they were awake. They don't have it because their life stinks as much as everybody else's. And in the middle of all of that, we shine our own little unique light. And if you can catch that, I gave you a wonderful gift. So, individual and congregation, they're complementary. They're there. They're both in the Bible. They're both God's will. But they're not the same thing. This is what we read a moment ago. All the members do not have the same function. Don't lose your individuality because somehow you have this big idea of what the local congregation is, and you don't have a brilliant spot in it, or you're not a song leader, or you're not a Bible class teacher, or you're not a whatever, and you go, well, I don't do anything at the building. So, I mean, we want you as active at the building as you can be, but most of your shining. Let me use Dave for example. Dave led his songs. I use Jeff too. Led songs. We have about 15 minutes in the song service, maybe a little longer depending on how long the prayers went. Of that kind of thing. Okay. In that 15, 20 minutes, they were shining. The song leaders, they were shining. Absolutely. Did a good job. Everything was great. Now, what if they walk out of the door and go, done showing for the week? I don't have to do that again for next week. What about Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right? My point is it's great that the people that do what we do here do it, but still the bulk of our shining is not here. And if you do it by pulpit time, I get more than anybody, and the bulk of my shining is not here. It's individually out of here, separate and apart from what we do when we come together in a corporate sense. Don't lose your individuality in the machine of your corporate thinking of what the congregation is. Don't do that. You've got all the freedom you need to shine, any place you need to shine, anytime, 24/7, Monday through Saturday, easy. Just here's probably your real challenge. You got so many opportunities, you don't know which one to pick. It's just overwhelming. And I'm going to tell you, just pick one. I don't care which one, just pick one and shine. And then when that one's done, pick another one and shine. You're the soldier on the battlefield. Go out and be the soldier. And as a Christian soldier, your job is to shine. Let your light so shine before men. And so that's what you're going to do. So the congregation itself, I don't want to overemphasize. We're not going to get rid of it. I mean, it's Bible. This is what we do. But if it's overemphasized, and this looks like the pinnacle of opportunity, then it overshadows the individual. That's not good. Because like I've already said, the individual's doing all the work Monday through Saturday. You get, well, some of us get 3 hours here Sunday morning. And still, as you compare that to the week, that's pretty small. Some of you get a couple hours here Sunday morning. Some of you just get an hour Sunday morning. So, depending on what your situation is. But the rest of it, that's your individual. So don't let, whatever your concept of the congregation, the corporate group is, don't let it squeeze out and repress your individuality. You got it. And if I read Psalms 139:13 right, and my understanding is that right, and you can challenge me on that a little bit, because I'm not going to tell you I know everything there is to know. But if I understand that right, he says, God created you in your mother's womb. He knit you. He put you together. He gave you some individuality. He knew exactly what he was putting together. Now, if you let that get overshadowed by some machine, then you lose the individuality God gave to you, and that's not good. Don't lose your individuality. Our church, in the corporate sense, we're very limited, and it should be that way. In Ephesians 4, he gave some to be apostles, and some prophets, and some evangelists, and some pastors and teachers for the equipping of the saints, for the work of the service, to the building up of the body of Christ. One of the primary things we do corporately is to equip you to go out Monday through Saturday and shine. Now, because all of us need a little boost in the middle of the week, we'll get back together Wednesday and we'll get a little refresher course or whatever we need, because that's a long time to shine. But that's, you're seeing it. That's what we do, corporate, if you would. So it's primarily supportive. The local church isn't supposed to do your work. You do your work. You do your shining. In fact, I can't figure out in my head how we as a corporate body could go shine for somebody else in their individual life. So a wife is to let her light shine in her marriage by submitting to her husband. Okay? Ephesians 5:22. How could the body, the local congregation, step into her wife's shoes and submit to her husband for her? It's bizarre. You can't do that. Now, we corporate can support the woman, encourage her to submit to her husband, but we can't go do it for her. Likewise, the husband's supposed to love his wife as Christ loved the church. Okay, same little scenario. So I can support that, I can encourage that, I can teach that, but there is no way that we as a local congregation can go step in somebody else's place and go, look, you take a break. We'll be the husband for a while, and we're going to love and nurture your wife like Christ did the church. No, only the husband can do that. So the corporate, we can't do the work that the individual's supposed to do. We're not supposed to even try to do your work. We're going to support you in your work. We're going to encourage you in your work. We're going to teach in your work, but we can't do your work. My grandpa used to tease me all the time. This is going back to the 1960s when we didn't have central air, and you sat out in the backyard And if you wanted a drink, you had to go into the refrigerator, ice boxes, we'd say back then, but it was still a refrigerator. And we'd get some cold water and we'd get a drink. And Grandpa would always just mess with you. So get me a drink while you're in there. Now, he didn't want us to bring him a glass of water. He was just messing with us. Take a drink from me. Now, there's no way to do that, right? I mean, it's cute little humor, grandpa humor, which is the corniest humor in the world, but you do your work. And somewhere things got flipped, and I don't know where. I haven't studied modern church history enough to really know where things got flipped. But somewhere along the way, people started getting the idea that the average member is a second-class citizen of the congregation or of the kingdom. And what's really important is the local body is one. Well, we're important. That's Bible. But it's not flipped. If you were going to ask me which one's more important, I'd be really hard-pressed to say which one because God put them both in the book. But when I read that Ephesians 4 that we read just a while ago, he said, I gave some of the apostles and preachers and teachers and pastors and so on and so forth. Okay, what did you get these guys up for? So they could equip the individual to do what the individual's supposed to do. It's a complementary thing. It's not one is more important than the other. It's we support. And somehow it's not that way. A lot of people look at their local congregation as some kind of big machine that does something, and they just sit on the pew watching it now and then. Don't do that. That ain't right. You're the individual. God dwells in you, and you're the light that shines. And we all shine together also. So the corporate body, we do assemble for worship. We get together for worship. We've done that, for 2,000 years. And we consider how to stimulate one another to love and good works. We don't forsake the assembling of ourselves together. And we encourage one another. So the corporate assembly is important because we all need some encouragement, especially when we're having a hard time. But the corporate assembly here, this isn't the pinnacle of your Christianity. Again, it's a little hard to say what's pinnacle and what's not. This is important. And if you forsake this, I would say you've forsaken the Lord. Don't forsake the assembling of yourselves together. But I cannot tell you that this is the most important part of being a Christian. What about Monday through Saturday, the 6 days a week you're not here, and all the rest of the hours today that you're not here? Are those not important? Are those not opportunities to shine? Are those not opportunities to really be the Christian God called us to be? Well, yeah, those are important, preacher, but I'm really, really a Christian when I'm in the assembly for an hour once a week. No, you're really, really a Christian 24/7, 365, and your light's supposed to be shining all the time, not just when we get together for an hour, 2 or 3 on Sunday mornings. It's a way of living. That's the light shining. So in Matthew 5:16, when he said, let your light so shine before men that they may see you assemble with the saints and glorify your Father in heaven. That's not what that verse said, is it? Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father who's in heaven. Is assembly a part of it? I'd say absolutely. And I would say at the same time, don't make it the number one priority, dominant. Oh, I got the assembly in. I don't have to worry about the rest of it now. That's not right thinking. You got the assembly in. That's good. You got one step done. Now there's 6 more days left in the week to do some other things. So the corporate, we do some limited benevolence. And we get that straight out of Scripture, of course. This is 1 Corinthians 16, where they took the collection for the saints that were in Jerusalem. And we won't go into it, but there it is if you want to look at it a little closer. Some limited benevolence is absolutely it. But the corporate, the local congregation is not the community ATM. We do not exist to hand out money to anybody who comes through and wants money. That's just not what we're here for. Now, you are free to take your hard-earned cash, pull out your wallet or open up your purse and get out your money, whatever thingy. And you, as an individual, you give your money to whoever you want to give it away to. I do not agree, personally, with giving your money to the guy who stands on the corner with a sign that says, we'll work for food, and he wouldn't work if you paid him $1,000 an hour unless it was to sleep. And then he'd probably wake up and quit. But all the research says these people on the street corner begging for money don't need your money. That's enabling. That, it just says don't do it. You talk to the people that know, said there's a way to handle them, but getting the money ain't it. But however, having said that, if you want to take your hard-earned money and give it to the guy who's sitting there on his rollator like he can't walk, but he's got his minivan parked over at Taco Bell and has no trouble getting over it and putting it in the back and tooling off after he got your money, if that's what you want to do, that's your money. You give it to him. But don't you send him down to church to talk to the elders, because we ain't cutting him a check so he can sit around and do whatever he do all day, doing nothing. We ain't the local ATM for every lazy whoever that just wants some money so they can go buy whatever. I have a former student, as I like to call him, and he likes to hang out at the Super One around the gas pumps a little bit. Sharon teased me the other day, we were gassing up. She goes, where's your friend? I said, I don't see him right now. He'll come up, I need $1. I said, hey, States, where are you going to go buy your alcohol? Oh, preacher, I ain't buying no alcohol. I don't do that. And I'm like, yeah, don't lie to me. I know you. We've done classes together, right? No. We're going to let our light shine at the congregational level. We are strict. At the congregational level, once you put your money in I was going to say plate, but I guess I ought to say in the box, you put it into Jesus' work. And we're going to be very, very careful about what we consider Jesus' work. But on your own, sure, do what you want to with your money. That's your business. I kind of give you what he did to Ananias and Sapphira. They sold a piece of land and they lied about it. But remember what he said to them at one time? He says, when you sold the land, was it not your own? And when you had the money, was it not your own? Why are you lying about it? When they tried to get over the Lord, things changed. So we do have some limited benevolence on the corporate level. But your benevolence, that's just your call. You get to decide where you put in your time. We have a lot of members here who do a lot of volunteer work, and they really don't want me to call their names, so I won't, but they do it at a lot of different levels. You all know that I do it down at the prison quite frequently, and I enjoy that. That's my choice. Some of you look at me and go, are you nuts? I wouldn't go down there. That's okay. I'm not asking you to. You just find your place to do your contribution to society however you want to do it. That's your call. Only thing I'm going to really say about that, because I don't want to sound too nitpicky there, be sure your light's really shining. As much as you can, and we all get took a little bit, but as much as you can, be sure that it's really a good investment of your time and resources. And if you do make a mistake and you realize it was a mistake, just learn a lesson and go, okay, next time I won't do that one. Don't beat yourself up. Just go, hey, we all get took sometimes. We'll tell those stories later on. So really, we want to empower the individual to get out and do what individuals are supposed to do. All Scripture is inspired by God, profitable for teaching, reproof, correction, training in righteousness, so the man of God may be complete. Notice he said, the man of God. Then it says, so that the corporate group will be complete, the man of God complete, adequate, equipped for every good work. Now, hopefully, corporately, we would be equipped for every good work, but the focus here is on the man of God being equipped for every good work. So we want you to cultivate and develop your talents. You grow where your light shines. And mostly, this is going to be your daily walk of life. And it's too easy to use, but I'll keep using it. In marriage, so much of that is just going to be the way I treat my wife, or the way you treat your wife, or the way you treat your husband, Or if you have kids at home, the way you treat your kids. Or as now we have my daddy living with me and he's 92 and there's some special considerations there. And you know, this is about, okay, this is my daily, this is where the talent's going to shine right now. It's not big, complex, traveling the globe to preach to all the lost people. It's about doing it right there where you live and you spend most of your time in your daily life. You use those talents and you shine Monday through Saturday. Uh, I left out Sunday because I don't know. Probably said Monday through Sunday, right? Don't wait for an official church program. Don't do that. You know, now and then people will think we need to start a visitation program. Okay. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the visitation program, but I'm saying why do you need the church to start a program? Why don't you call your best friend, whoever, and say, hey, let's go visit some folks. And the two of you get in your car and go. Well, we don't have a church program right now. But if we can get those elders to start a program, then maybe we'll go visit some folks. That's where we got lost in the machine. You don't have to have the elders to come along and go, hey, you want to go visit somebody? We give you approval. You and your best friend can go visit on Tuesday evenings just from 7 to 8 o'clock, though. Isn't that crazy? You're adults. You're the soldiers in the field. You want to go visit the nursing home. You want to go visit the hospital. You want to have a cottage study. You want to go volunteer wherever you want to volunteer, wherever the opportunities are. Go. Just get up and do it. And if I can give you a pointer along the way with my past experience, I'd be glad to. And if I can't, maybe I'll learn with you. Simple New Testament pattern. Believers gathered together to worship, study, and encourage one another. That was pretty much it, wasn't it? It wasn't an institution in the modern sense where we've got this big church thing going on. They were just a community of believers. They hung out with one another. They shared life with one another. They encouraged one another. Sometimes they argued with one another. It was just pretty simple, not very complex. They taught, they encouraged, and they stirred one another up. Now, it stirred up, I meant that in reference to Hebrews 10:24-5, stir up one another to love and good works. I have an idea they stirred up one another in some negative ways too. So we need the local group, absolutely. If we were trying to get rid of the local group, we'd miss part of the Bible pattern. We need the training that we read there in Ephesians 4:11, 12, 13. We need accountability to somebody. We do need all of that. We need the insights, the experiences. If you wanted to get into volunteering in prison, for example, I'd be glad to sit down and have coffee with you, share my insights and experiences with you. I've been doing it for quite a while. There's some other folks that volunteer in other areas. We have some folks here who are great when they walk into a nursing home. Frankly, I'm awkward when I walk into a nursing home, but, you know, we have folks that will share stuff with you. There's just many great opportunities. We need that. We need the moral support of others. That's one of the things we get out of the group. And when we learn to draw from each other individually for individual targets, that's when we grow stronger. But if I'm sitting on the sidelines waiting for the elders to put together some special program so we can go do some special ministry, well, elderships usually aren't that aggressive, are they? And then you know what's going to happen? Elders are going to put together the visitation program. They're going to pick a time. And one of the first things we're going to hear is, oh, I can't do it that night. Oh, I can't get out that late either. And it's going to be like pulling hen's teeth to get people to do what they kind of said they wanted to do, but they didn't really want to do it. But at the individual, they just go, hey, we're going to visit. I'm making phone calls. I'm going to be Claudette Bowling. I'm going to wear out a directory. I'm going to call people till my directory falls apart, and I'm going to get another directory. I'm going to keep calling. Now, what program do you need to do that? Nope. And we got some newly printed directories if you want a hard copy, and we got them on the app on the phone. Now, if you can wear the one out on your phone, I want to talk to you. I want you to teach a class on how to make phone calls in the afternoon. That's how we get stronger. We draw from one another. The goal is just to shine. You're not a bystander. You're not a mere spectator. You have a light, and I want you to be the light in your own little corner of the world. And I was trying to think of an analogy for this, and there's not a great one, but I'm going to use a Christmas tree. And I know not all of you put up a Christmas tree anymore. I got tired and cranky, and now we put up creepy Santa because he's easier to put up. He doesn't have any lights on him. We used to put up the Christmas tree, and it only had like 4,862 lights on it. And if it wasn't a real Christmas tree, my daughter would complain because you couldn't smell the cedar. It does smell good, doesn't it? Now, I don't know how many lights are on the tree, but there are a whole bunch of them. But if one single light thinks it's got to light the whole tree, it's in trouble, isn't it? But as long as every little light on that tree says, you know, I got my little place right here on the tree, I'm going to shine right here. And this is all I got to do, is just this little spot here. Then together, they all look beautiful, don't they? And how many of us just, have you done the drive-through out at Regional Park? Most of us, a lot of us do that. There's a bunch of lights. But each little light just shines one little place. But when they all come together, it's beautiful. And that's all I'm asking you to do, is just be your own little light in your own little corner of the world. And the more and more that it happens in our community, the better and better our community works. And the beautiful thing about it is one person didn't have to do everything. As God called each of the stars by name, Isaiah 40:26, he called us to be stars too. And all he wants us to do is shine. Just shine. Yes, but I really don't make a difference. Somebody else is better equipped. So, maybe somebody else is better equipped. But you shine. Because nobody else can shine in your daily walk of life. It's just you. When you get home today, and it's just you and your mate, who else can shine in that private place except you two? And when you're with the grandkids, and you know, parents aren't turning their kids loose with just anybody. So when Chris and Carrie got Reese and they're having a good time, who else can shine there? They're not going to let a stranger come in and shine. Reese probably ain't going to let me come in and shine. You know? I mean, well, am I getting my point across? Don't worry about who's better, who shines where. You got a place. And nobody else can shine like you can in that particular place. No one. It's just not possible. So just honor your place. And then we'll teach love, kindness, and patience, and encouragement, and all that we do in our little associations. And we're just going to shine in the little things. That's it. It can be just that simple. So both the corporate and the individual, they're important. God wove them together. They're obviously in the book. There's no way we're going to try to get them either one out of the book. But don't let corporate overshadow you. You shine. Your own little place, whatever it happens to be, you just shine. Because we exist to shine. God created us to shine. Matthew 5:16 can't be any clearer. I'll say it one more time. This is our closing slide. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. So, here's the question I want to leave you with. How does your light shine in your daily routine? If you're having a little trouble making that connection, and I get it. I mean, you think about daily routine you're living in, and you know, maybe it's basically I got a mate keeping house, or I talk to the grandkids and I run some errands. You know, preacher, how do I let my light shine there? It looks too mundane. No, you can let your light shine there. Anywhere you can let your light shine. But sometimes we need to talk about it. And if you do, that's fine. Talking would be great. But that's the one thing about your daily routine, as mundane as it may be, and go, okay, how's my light going to shine here? And what I'm doing right here, right now, in the next 5 minutes or 10 or whatever you got planned. When you let your light shine so the people see your good works, glorify your Father in heaven, you'll make them smile. Now, the first thing you got to do is get with Jesus, right? If you have not yet come to Jesus, then that's the first thing you got to do. Put him on a baptism, let his blood wash away your sins. And after that, we can start teaching some more about shining. Now, if you've already been to the Lord and you kind of let your light dim down a little bit, because some people got dimmer switches on theirs, and turn it way down, we'll talk about how to turn it back up. If you're subject to our public invitation, let us help however we can while we stand still.